Adult dances of Reddit. What are some things about the business do most customers not know? Not a stripper, but a former bouncer, and the girls each kept their own container of disinfectant wipes in the DJ booth, with their names written on in black magic marker. I'm a bouncer at a regular nightclub. I keep disinfectant wipes near the door. After checking 500 plus IDs and shaking hands, I wipe down my area and disinfect up to my elbows. I know the gay strip club here in Dallas. Many of the dancers are actually straight college-age kids, friends with one and his girlfriend. I asked him if it was weird, but when he says there's that much money involved. Totally. My main stage for women is in Seattle, and while it's fun, it doesn't make bank like gay clubs, so the 2-hour commute to Portland every now and then is worth it. That we pay to work in the clubs. There aren't always A casts and B casts. Saturdays doesn't always mean the hotter girls. Mondays doesn't always mean the uglier girls. Girls make their own schedules. I worked Friday and Saturday night, but I'm working now, Monday, because I have to work one Monday a month. Hotter girls don't always make more money. They get approached more often, but the real money makers are the ones that are good at conversation and persuasion. There's freaking at every club, just not with every girl. Beers cost $7 because you're paying for the environment, not the alcohol. There are single moms, students, drug addicts, free spirits, models at every club. Different percentages though for different clubs. Beers cost $7 because you're paying for the environment, not the alcohol. Haha, it also costs that in the DC region, even if there are no strippers. I heard on the radio recently, they were talking about a lawsuit involving strippers, that the clubs generally take 50% or more of the tips they receive. Apparently the whole system is shady. All strippers are considered independent contractors for insurance reasons or something, which means the clubs legally can't impose a work schedule or dress code, but obviously they do. I don't know the particulars, but it seemed like a lot of loopholes are involved to screw the ladies. HAHA. I said screw the ladies. Those who have open work permits in Canada are prohibited from being strippers. Not a stripper, and I can't be. I just thought it was funny that they printed that right on the front of the permit. Because it was a way to start off flesh trade. Basically get the women in on a work visa, start as strippers, then they disappear into prostitution and sometimes worse. I'm not a stripper, but one of my best friends is. In Ontario, Canada, for most clubs you require a license to strip. Very much like a driver's license, but to take your clothes off. A lot of you had questions, so I had my girlfriend answer them. You have to go to the police station to get your license. She can't remember which department since she got hers a couple years ago and then stopped stripping. Yes, it does have a picture of her mug on it. It's for identifying her should she be kidnapped or murdered. The girls are supposed to wear them at all times, but they normally don't. It cost her $400 or like 30 minutes of work. Probably to avoid human trafficking. Male stripping isn't much different from female stripping minus a bleeding dong every 4 weeks. We still have to pay our club fees. There's still massive amounts of other male strippers with a drug problem, mostly C. The ratio of male-female clientele is about 50-50. This is all depending on the club you go to work at. There's a lot more fricking in male strip clubs, or at least propositions. Heck, even as a bartender I've been propositioned before. Had a regular offer me $500 to come over to his house, have him make me dinner, get a massage, and then for him to give me a BJ. Contemplated that for a bit. Also, male dancers almost always have a dong ring on. If you've ever tried to keep an erection while dancing and grinding on a pole or talking crap's annoying. Every now and then we have to go take it off and take a break for a few minutes. Otherwise you'll be in a lot of pain at the end of your shift. Still a good gig. I worked out of Atlanta for a while. Made some pretty solid bank there in the summer months. That women on their periods will rub their crotch in your face with a tampon plus some extra padding stuffed up there. B can't be taking every 4th week off. A guy I used to work with went to a strip club, and the girl was grinding her crotch right up in his face. He ended up get a pretty serious eye infection. Former stripper here. A lot of the responses in this thread are about the inner workings of a strip club, mostly all of which held true for me. but no one has mentioned anything about the actual audition process to even get employed. My first ever audition always stood out to me the most. I had gotten all dressed up in a skimpy little dress that I wore a jacket over because I wasn't sure if I could change at the club or not. I hadn't stocked up on cigarettes because I didn't know if we were allowed to. I wore my stripper heels and didn't bring a change of clothes because I figured I could manage the walk back home after an audition. 30 minutes isn't so bad, right? I was so underprepared and knew so little about what I was getting myself into. I walked into the club and the bouncer asked me to sign in. I told him I was here for an audition. He directed me downstairs and told me to talk to Jasmine, the house mother. I did as instructed and was told to wait until the rest of the ladies that wanted to audition showed up. By the end of the half hour, there were 9 of us all waiting to get on stage with hopes of employment. The stage we auditioned on had 3 poles, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. They separated us into 3 groups and had us go up and dance in front of everyone at the same time as 2 other women. We would get up on stage, start to dance, and be progressively asked to remove more and more clothing as the song went on. I was so nervous I nearly peed my pants. I had never been naked on stage in front of an audience before, but I found comfort in the fact that I had nice, firm, big boobs and immediately gained more confidence in my dancing. When everyone had auditioned, they sat us in a row and Jasmine literally went down the line handing out an array of yeses and noes. No explanation, just cutthroat, brutal decision. Those who were rejected were told they could try again in 2 weeks while the rest were asked if they wanted to start that night or the following night. That was the first night I ever worked as a stripper. I was so nervous and excited and naive about every little thing. I can't forget this audition because it was the start of so much ridiculousness. Meeting so many horrible and wonderful people, having so many crappy and amazing nights. Just the audition itself was so out of my element and unexpected. So yeah, that's my little contribution to the thread. Hope you learned something about the industry. TLDR, the audition process can be pretty scary. Male dancer here for a prominent gay nightclub. 1. As a male dancer we get paid booking fees. I usually accept no less than 100, and that usually includes a free hotel if I'm traveling. 2. Being good looking is a major factor, but understanding that every body type markets to a different crowd. I market to the people who like twinks for instance. 3. It's really up to us how much money we want to make for the night. It's how far we're willing to take things. 4. We know where the high rollers are. We are constantly paying attention to who's buying their friends a ton of drinks, or what have you, so we know who to approach. 5. Bachelorette parties are a male stripper's best friend. They almost always pay for private dances. 6. A lot of us, even at gay nightclubs who dance for money, are not gay. I happen to be, but many of my co-workers aren't. 7. Dancing isn't just for broke people. I've danced with very well-off P-stars, models, and even one that appears on daytime television across the US often. My ex-wife is a stripper. That sentence used to be my wife is an ex-stripper. Now I'm sad again. For clarification, I met my ex when she was a stripper. She stopped as soon as we started dating. I never once saw her strip. I don't really care for strip clubs myself. We ended up getting married, had a child. When we were short on money and in need of a new car, she kept bringing up how she could make so much money doing it again. So being logical, I agreed after some persuasion. That led to a downward spiral resulting in our divorce, which was inevitable, just accelerated. There is a sense of empowerment she craved that I couldn't give. Only that profession has ever given it to her. We are still friendly. She is a smart girl, just emotionally hardened. You can take the stripper out of the club, but you can never take the club out of the stripper. I'm gay and I had one experience at a strip club where women were dancing. I was 19 and first year Univen residents. I went with some Swedish exchange students who were all hetero and very good looking. Some had girlfriends and they came along too. We just got there, got overpriced drinks and sat down. A stripper came up to us and said, "Can I please dance for your group for free? There's just creeps here tonight and my boss will give me crap if I'm not entertaining anyone. You guys get 100% free dance. Just keep me away from the smelly weirdos that try to touch me and won't pay." I felt so bad for her. I didn't want to ask too many questions because I didn't want to get into her business, but I did ask her if she was safe and was there by her own accord. She said that she was. This is in Canada BTW. The hetero Swedish guys that I was with were happy. She was pretty and they were getting free lap dances and she couldn't stop thanking us, which broke my heart every time. I ended up running back in after we left and gave her $50. Or tried. She wouldn't take it and said that she owed us a lot more than that for getting her out of a bad spot at night. The entire thing was just weird. I mean, people say that these girls want to be there and that it's fine, but I feel like there's a lot of girls who would much rather be doing something else but need the money. Is that really total free will when you're against the wall with rent due and student loans? And I don't know. We were supposed to go see gay dancers. Not with the Swedes, but me and some girls and some gay guys. And I couldn't go. I kept thinking of this poor little lady. You have a kind heart, man. A surprising amount of them are either gay or married. I've been a dancer for over 5 years and I'm happily married and have one child. My husband actually makes enough money for me to stay home, but I love dancing and it gets me out of the house. We are damsels in distress. I've met so many men over the years that want to save me or take pity on me for being there. I call them Captain Save-A-Ho. I choose to be here. It's more of a hobby to me than a necessity. Also, when you ask for our real name, we are giving you another fake name. I have like 3 backups. I used to date a stripper H. Didn't find out until later on, and I've hung out with some of her co-workers outside of work. I think what people don't usually know is that outside of the club they want to be treated like the normal human beings they are without the physically charged overtones of what goes on in the club. Their persona in the club and who they are outside aren't necessarily congruent. I lived down the street from a strip club in college and a few of the girls lived in an apartment across the street from my place. My roommates and I of course frequented the strip club often, so we recognized them when we saw them out walking the dog or taking out the trash. I don't have much to add to the conversation here, but it was kind of a strange experience having a girl rub the side of her face all over the outside of your crotch and then see her grabbing the newspaper the next morning. It's almost as if they're human. I dated a stripper for a little while. She always had a ridiculous amount of money and works at one of the better clubs in my state. She said she had to pay $300 to come in and work on Friday or Saturday, but then some weekend nights she would come home with $5,000, so it was pretty chill. She loved to spend money on me, but she just turned out to be a little crazier than I had prepared for. I'm gonna guess a stripper with a heart of gold doesn't really exist. I've met a really sweet girl who used to be a stripper. She's still in the adult industry, so I can't imagine she was much different when she was stripping. Also, as to always having a lot of money, she told me something along the lines of I can only do this for 10 more years at the absolute most, so I don't spend much of the money I make. Seemed wise. My dad owns a chain of strip clubs. I've gotten to know a lot of the dancers since on a personal level, and they are usually sweet. However, to say dancers are no less fricked up than everyone else is just ridiculous. Sure, maybe 15% of the dancers at my dad's clubs are normal girls who are trying to pay off student debt. They don't mind showing their teeth for $5,000 a night, which I think is a pretty fair trade. The other 85% are freaking nuts. Everything from drug drama, baby daddy drama, crappy friends drama, work drama, etc. They were obviously not normal girls, and you could tell that they got a lot of their self-worth through outward validation. Lots of daddy issues. Anyway, I don't mean to call you out or anything. I'm just saying in my experience, dancers are very interesting. About the $5,000 thing, I mentioned that 99.98% of dancers don't make that much. Accuracy wasn't my concern. I would say the average dancer makes $500 to $1,500 on an average night. Okay, AMA it is. I had never thought about a lot of this stuff and the ways you all look at it. Very enlightening. I will link my AMA to this thread when I do it tomorrow morning at 10 AM EST. Another thing most don't know is that 99% of strippers never get close to making $5,000 a night. I was a bouncer at a club in Montreal. My main job was actually to prevent freaking illegal touching inside the private booths. On slow nights we had 2 guys working. one at the door and the other just doing rounds through the back rooms. The girls were private contractors that had to pay to dance, and often were sent over by a promoter who sent girls to different clubs, so they had no allegiance to the club. Most were okay, but there were some that were always pushing the line, allowing the line to be pushed. We had to ban a few after catching them fricking or being caught breaking the rules too many times. The manager explained that the loss of money from a violation was not worth the extra cash they might get from allowing illegal stuff. It was busy enough as it was. I thought you just meant dancers who happen to be adults, and I was gonna get into the politics of the professional ballet and modern dance worlds, which really can be NSW, so in my head it made sense. And anyways, my bad. 1. Every, or at least most, clubs charge dancers to go into work. The amount generally increases as it gets later in the night. 2. Dancers don't keep all of the money from lap dances, at least in my experience. The club takes out a percentage that is usually around 25-30%. 3. Location matters. Dancers in lower middle income areas in smaller cities will make less than dancers who live in more popular areas. I believe the real average is somewhere between $100-400 a night depending on area. 4. Dancers can actually lose money by going to work. 5. All clubs have different rules and all dancers have different limits. If you don't know the rules, just ask. And if you plan on touching, be sure to ask individuals. All girls have different limits. 6. There are insane, and I mean 50 shades of crazy types of girls who dance. Drama gets out of hand quickly, but that's pretty obvious as a gaggle of women rarely will get along well. There are normal girls as well. Some really are going to school, some are parents, some are just trying to make more than minimum wage, etc. 7. No one teaches you how to pole dance at the club. You have to learn on your own, either by buying one, taking classes, or learning during downtimes. 8. If you are interested in a specific type of girl, or see a girl you want to dance from, you can ask bouncers, waitresses, her or him to sit with you. You should also tell dancers if they are not your type or if you aren't planning on getting dances. We want you to have a good time, and we're there to make money. 9. If you're looking to frick, well, that depends on the girl and the club. General tip: more reserved or normal seeming girls are not the likely choices. I'm sure it happens, but I'd say most girls don't go for extras. The one thing that I realized the first time I went to a strip club was the misery. I guess everyone knows it, but as a young guy with a hard-on and $100 cash in my pocket, I was just so excited to be there. The thinly veiled sadness on most of the girls' faces pretty much killed for me ever really wanting to go again. I wanted the girls to be as excited as I was. They were not. With me, or with any of the other customers, they were not. Some of this has been said, but to reiterate, we pay to be there and we tip out a lot. This is if you are an independent contractor. You also have the option to be an actual employee, in which you don't pay rent, fee upon arrival, and you don't do stage dances, but you tip out more per private dance. The average amount girls make depends on their experience with hustling guys, mostly, and the club. But I would say $500 is a decent average at my club, although some days I've made $1,000. On your period? Still a bloody tampon in there with the string cut. There is no fricking in any club I've ever worked at. The bouncers are extremely vigilant, and as a dancer, you will get fired on the spot if you get caught kissing someone or if they get caught with their pants down. I know it's different in some places, but I feel the need to say that. Managers can be rude and creepy. Most people treat you differently as a stripper, but they don't realize it's just a job to us. Most girls are married or have a boyfriend, and a lot of them have kids, or are pregnant currently. It is our job to act vivacious and be sensual no matter how we are feeling that day. There are a lot of crazies, but also a lot of normal girls again, depends on the club. Lots of single moms, lots of students, and some that just do it because it's easy money. Some women are shockingly old for it. Every club is different. One thing can be said though for all of them: treat the women there with respect. You don't know why they are there or what they have to go through every night to make their rent. It's just a job, and it's our choice. You'll be surprised how normal we are if you can hold off on being judgmental. Speaking of on your period, I once went to a club and one of the girls was leaking and there was a spot on her panties. We politely and discreetly told her. She was very appreciative. My buddy once told us that every Tuesday he would go to a strip club and get a $15 blowjob. We were somewhat incredulous and my other buddy asked, "Do you use a condom?" He responded, "No, I always go to the same girl." Here's a weird stripper moment. We went out to a local strip club for my friend's bachelor party. It was fun. There was this one girl who sat with us the whole night. Multiple lap dances. Nothing too crazy. Fast forward to the next day. I take my mom out for dinner. The waitress sits us down and I look over to my left and there she was, the chick that was sitting with us the whole time. She smiled and actually came over to talk to me. My mom asked who that was. I just sat there and said that she was a friend from college. It was pretty weird moment. Former bar staff at strip club in Atlantic City. Drinks you buy for dancers waitresses are watered down, or even completely virgin, and usually without informing customer. Strippers were aware of this, and usually had complimentary drinks after a shift if they really wanted the alcohol. Also often the most average looking, or even to me unattractive ladies were the biggest breadwinners. There were always a couple of chubby dancers, because there is a demand. Our boss was xenophobic to the extent we had one token black girl and that was enough for the quota. I saw him turn down some of the most stunning black and Asian girls I've seen in my life, even when we were short on dancers. My insane ex-girlfriend took me to a strip club with some friends once as a gift. The entire time she looked at me with an angry face like I just killed a puppy. It was super awkward. I didn't enjoy it at all and I just wanted to leave. After an hour I finally convinced her and we left. She didn't talk to me for a week because even though I didn't really look at the girls she knew I wanted to and that was betrayal, she was simultaneously pissed off because I made her look like an butthole to her friends for leaving so early and being a freaking downer. She later went on to get back at me by fricking the entire insane clown posse crew, roadies and all. True story. DJ here. Something the girls might not know is that I got sent there by my company. You changing in the room that I'm trying to work in is still making me uncomfortable. Sorry. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.